the most bizarre terms you guys have?
Well, I guess one that David Morris come up with an equalizer, a canoodering rod. That's the canoodering rod.
What does the canoodering rod do?
It connects the sway arm bars to the rear end to keep the truck level. Dennis Anderson calls the third member in your rear end's a hog's head.
Hog's head. You've been over talking to them southern boys down there, like Mr. Porter, huh? So, see, the guys down south are making up names for things. Hog's head. Oh, my God. Did I find that in the book? Well, what does it do exactly? Carries a ring and pinion. It's what actually drives the rear ends out from the transfer case. But you got to admit, hog's head sounds like a cool thing. That's pretty cool. I told you we had all kinds of stuff here. Earlier today, I met some guys who were doing radio-controlled cars. Seriously. In fact, I kind of bonded with one of them. You got to check this out. When you can't afford a real big monster truck, you go out and buy one of these. I don't have a kid. I am the kid, so I get to do what I want. So tell me, how tough is it in there? Is it really hot? Is it really warm? He's a little bit upset. He was telling me that inside the car, it's a bit hot. Well, you couldn't hear him, obviously. It's a woman. How fast these guys go? Probably about 30. Now watch this guy go. Check him out. He's doing flips and swirls. What's his name? Daniel. When you got it, right?
Time now for our Pro Stadium truck. By the way, Scott, I really like that hog's head term.
It is the Southern guys who have kind of led the culture in this sport, I must admit.
First up here in our Pro Stadium truck, this is Sonny Dorman in Killing Time. Sonny out of Walcott, Iowa, in an 84 Ford Ranger. Explain our format, what we're doing here.
Each of the Pro Stadium trucks will now run the entire course, and you will see that it's a combination of jumps, turns, and obstacles. And Sonny have a little problem with it right here, but they're running against the clock right now. Every truck will qualify against the clock, and then that will determine pairings for side-by-side racing. Then we get into a bracket-style elimination to get down to one champion.
Well, not a great time. He had trouble negotiating that turn. The Bayou Bandit, Kevin Williams, will try to do a little bit better. Kevin out of Kenner, Louisiana, that 84 Ford, and let's see how he negotiates this course.
Again, it seems like the problem is going to be down in the turn. Let's see how the Bayou Bandit is able to get through it. Not a whole lot of speed there. If we can find any of these Pro Stadium trucks that finds a way to make that turn quickly, they're going to have the good run.
Oh, Kevin Williams still with a little bit of problems in that turn, just like Sonny Dorman had. We'll see how the rest of the guys negotiate this course. We've got a lot more Pro Stadium truck action coming your way. From the Agua, Scott Douglas back with you with Monster Jam. And we're watching Stadium trucks, and Scott, they're having a little trouble negotiating that turn.
This may be where these races are won and lost as we go through the Pro Stadium trucks. In the turn first, but then at the finish line. If you negotiate that turn successfully, you've got to have the hammer down and a lot of momentum at the end. The trucks that are able to fly through those final few jumps are the trucks that are going to win.
All right, horsepower important, but so is handling. Hey, take a look at Chad Walden. That's an 84 Jeep. Don't see a lot of those out on the road.
One of the neat things about the Pro Stadium trucks is all the different designs. Yes, some of them go back quite a ways. You'll see some. We've even got some brand new ones coming up as we'll see through the runs over the next few rounds. But let's see how the Jeep gets around. Again, the turn's critical, and that wasn't a bad turn there.
Well, Chad Walden does a pretty good job, but what he gains in that turn, he might give up a little bit in horsepower.
Because, again, as we were talking about the finish, then he didn't have what it took to hammer at the end of it, and that's going to cost him on the run only 26 seconds to change.
Well, a little disappointment there for Chad Walden. Up next is Jeff Hoy in Hang Time. Jeff Hoy out of Katy, Texas, which is just down the road from here in Houston, so he's a local favorite.
Here's what we're talking about, too. 97 Ford pickup truck here, and look at the momentum. Now, Hoy is having a good run, but let's watch the turn. Really slows it, but hey, keeps it rolling with no problem and has the momentum for the finish. This is the best run we've seen.
And he really, as you can tell, is a big difference in horsepower, and that is 20.13 seconds. That is by far the best run so far. Jeff Hoy from nearby Katy, Texas, and you heard in the background a loud cheer. He's got a lot of friends here tonight. Up next, Heather Kraft.
Always great to see a lady competing with the big boys here at the U.S. Hot Rod Association, especially because there are so many women who come to the event as fans. Oh, look at this. They really divide the ladies, and Heather's having a wild run.
Runs right through that Pace Motorsports sign in her 74 Ford Bronco. And she almost didn't negotiate that turn. Just about didn't make it.
Had a lot of trouble with, really getting a rough ride in the whoops there. Now she's going to come around and finish. But it was kind of a slow run. Still, it should put her in decent position as far as the qualifying goes.
26.81 seconds. Here's Precision Heather Kraft, and gave it a good effort. Ralph Massey now out of New Orleans, and his truck appropriately named Cajun Spice.
Time to beat remains at 20.13 from Jeff Boy. If you want to be the fast qualifier, which theoretically gets you an easier draw when we get to side-by-side racing. But the problems right there for Massey didn't really get through the turn real well, nor that whoop section.
We'll see what kind of horsepower he has coming down the stretch. And Ralph Massey probably not the run that he wants in that 74 Ford Bronco. Massey 23.28.
Still second best, so I don't think he can complain. It should get a good draw when we go side by side.
I like those. This looks like the truck used to be parked in my driveway. Mike Bendel from Castroville, Texas, a 73 Ford pickup, which was a great year and a great model.
Need to get him a name for it, though. He's having a great run here. So we're just calling it the generic truck. No, he was having a great run, had a lot of speed, but he forgot about the turn.
Yes, he did. Where are you going, Mike?
Wait a minute. They don't have arrows, you know, like interstate lanes where you're supposed to make the turn here. And he's going to try the whole Asphodel.
Mike is lost here in the Houston Astrodome tonight.
I've seen it all now.
Mike just drove that truck right here into the parking lot, kept right on driving in. It's good job, and the crowd loves it. And the front bumper gets a little worse for wear there, but 44.22 seconds.
That is an example of why the Pro Stadium trucks have become so popular at U.S. Hot Rod events. You just never know what's going to happen, and they're loads of fun.
All right, Joe Prescott now with the master of disaster. 79 Ford Bronco. He's got some horses under that hood.
You know the other thing, I think the fans in the stands, it's hard to relate, although they might want to drive a monster truck. You can see, hey, I can put my pickup out there, I can run my Jeep out there, and the fans really relate to this. That was not a bad run. There goes the barrel.
He made it, 23.19. Like you say, it's not bad.
Number two on the list.
We didn't need that barrel out there.
Nah, we got plenty of them.
Up next, in these Pro Stadium trucks, what is a lot of fun here this series. Jim Hopkins will be our next driver from Excelsior Springs, Missouri, in a 76 Ford Bronco. Here's Jim, Ramrod 2.
Got out of the gate well, getting some nice momentum around that first barrel. Look at the speed he's got. Now let's see how he makes the turn, because this is an excellent first half of the run.
Well, he did that. He really made that turn. That was it.
Didn't lose much at all. And look at him kicking at the end. What a run. 17.88. Number one on the qualifying chart.
By far our best run here in this qualifying session. Jim Hopkins, Ramrod 2. And watch him come down the home stretch. You can tell the horsepower.
Well, I think probably the key is the way he made the turn. He really didn't slow up much. He kind of used his brake, made the turn, got back on the throttle. Very well done.
Our final Pro Stadium truck driver and another unusual-looking truck, Keith Siegel out of Houston, Texas. Hometown guy. Top of the food chain, the name of this truck.
So that's a great name for a truck, especially in this Pro Stadium series. But these folks are wild. Well, the zebra, I think I'd call that the zebra. Oh, big problems in the turn. That's going to cost him.
That's an 84 Jeep Wagoner, and it was not designed to take that kind of a turn.
Actually made up some ground on the last half of the course. That wasn't a bad run when you consider how bad the turn was.
No, not a bad time at all. 24.12 for Keith Siegel, hometown driver here out of native Houston, Texas. Top of the food chain. Again, we love the name of that truck. Well, all the qualifying rounds have been completed. Now we'll compile those times and we'll set up some pairings for our next round.
Here we go. And Jim Hopkins, of course, is the one to beat after that 17.88-second run. I'll tell you, somebody's really going to have to hit the hammer down to get Jim in this round of side-by-side action.
It's going to be exciting coming up. These guys, we had everything from A to Z here. This was a lot of fun. It really was.
I love it.
Well, still to come here from the Astrodome, more monster
winter sizzle when Monster Jam rumbles into your town. Don't miss all the high-flying, full-speed, full-on car-crunching monster truck action. Plus quad wars, tractor pulling, street warriors, sand drags, and more. All your monster truck favorites come calling, including Gravedigger, Monster Patrol, Barefoot, and the Carolina Crusher. Check the dates and times in your area for a monstrous invasion.
Oh, they love their motorsports here in the Astrodome. And tomorrow night, off-road, and that is something to see, Scott.
Fans in Houston have to get out to the Astrodome tomorrow. Part of the U.S. Off-Road Championship Series at great stadiums and domes all over the country. This is the kind of action you're going to see. All kinds of awesome off-road vehicles.
And we'll be showing some of it to you here on TNN, March 5th and 12th from San Diego, April 2nd and April 9th. We'll also be having some of this off-road action. You won't want to miss this. This is really a lot of thrills and exciting motorsports action.
As you can see, super modified buggies. They've got the cycles running. They've got quads. It just really covers the whole spectrum of available motorsports inside a dome and a stadium in an off-road situation. And the action is fast and furious.
Now, we're having fast and furious monster truck action here tonight. One of our drivers, Dan Patrick, has been in this business 15 years. And he knows how to put those engines together out of Laurelville, Ohio. In fact, Samson was strong until Delilah cut his hair. Fiction. You need hair to be mighty. Fact is, this mighty monster truck has plenty of hair. 1,500 horses worth, and it isn't under the hood.
Okay, you'll see the motors in backwards, and the reason that's for is mostly for balance and also easier to work on the truck.
Dan Patrick, Samson's owner and driver, is a 25-year veteran of truck and tractor pull racing. Paying the bills was more difficult than having fun, so...
And they were paying the monster trucks to come in and do exhibitions, and I thought, well, I'd rather be on the paying end.
Winning means money, and it takes quite a bit of green stuff to transport these behemoths around the country. But money isn't the only thing that gets Patrick going.
You get the adrenaline rush like you do any other kinds of sports. The larger the crowd, the more intense the crowd is, the more you want to, we'll say, perform.
Dan knows performance. He has built 30 trucks for 9 other teams over the years. Quality keeps them coming back.
I look at it two ways. I look at it as a product that I also sell, so I want my product to be the best that's out there. And also the teams I build for, I want them to have the best product out there.
Now in his 10th year, car smashing, tight turning, high jumping, monster truck racing. There's no doubt this man and his truck delivers performance and strength. As for Samson's hair,
It's that old testosterone thing, I guess they call it.
and we'll be seeing Samson a little bit later on here in the Astrodome in Houston. Right now, we're moving on to the next round of monster truck action with the Executioner and Monster Patrol.
Well, you see the police lights just blaring from Monster Patrol. That's a throwback to where this team got its genesis from, and that was the old Mud Patrol Mud Racer. Now Mark Paul will try to knock him off.
And he's the fastest qualifier from that first round, so Executioner getting another shot here.
See if he can hang with the Monster Patrol, the big, powerful Chevrolet, and Tom Mintz, who gets around turning courses brilliantly. Tight race. Boy, Monster Patrol holds it out
Barely. That was tight. Monster Patrol and Tom Mintz your winner, but he had all he could handle coming down the stretch there.
You got to tip your hat to Mark Hall and the Executioner. We talked about the fact that he has a veteran in this sport, and he has had a lot of success, but you don't see him up in the names of the Gravediggers and the Monster Patrol sometimes. Mark's showing us he can run with anybody.
Take a look again as they come around that tight U-turn here, and this just seems to be the key, is getting off this turn, and they're really getting that hammer down on the throttle.
And that Monster Patrol able to just really use the horsepower on that final jump. And, boy, you can see Tommy Mintz had to put it on the ragged edge. He almost goes over at the completion of the run, but does a nice recovery and gets it back down on all four wheels.
So Monster Patrol now will advance on to the next round as we see, again, that finish, and just Executioner almost went over as well.
Obviously, just the angle you were at, you know, from